Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Racha, Kodash Barakatham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders, a great millstone who teach and do real well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Shem Shot. And normally I just jump straight into a scripture, but the Spirit had me, salute first and give all praises to Yahweh Shem Shot, and then salute. But I came across this article, it's pretty much that's what's in the news, because we see this thing happening soon, they constantly, it's like they prophesy this basically job losses and the recession, which you already kind of in a recession. It's just the people don't understand that yet. But I'm gonna bring out the title of the article, and this is off of my Newsbreak app. It's out of Business Insider, and it reads, unlike recent recessions, it says office jobs are most at risk of layoffs in the coming economic downturn. And it reads, white-collar workers fared much better than blue-collar employees during the CV recession. Several signs suggest the opposite will be true in a Fed-induced 2023 downturn. Several blue-collar sectors are said to be protected from layoffs, while white-collar workers are at risk. Because at the end of the day, certain blue-collar jobs, they need laborers, because, a person that's dealing like in produce, like the people that, I was just listening to the brother Bakar Maf. He was going into that in Germany. You got basically food insecurity. They talk about you got these food processing places that's basically may have to shut down. So he was going into how you already got the gas crisis over there. You got all these different crises, and on top of it, now you talk about it's gonna be an issue with actually having food. I mean, it's already bad enough you experiencing inflation, but what happens when it's only a little bit amount of food and it's actually more expensive because it's not because of the fact that the money's inflated, but it's less of the product. So yeah, we about to come into some hard times. Makes me think of Ezekiel chapter 7. About the end is coming. The end is come. Evil is come. Roughly paraphrased, because evil goes into the compound word Eve meaning Eve meaning times, ill meaning bad. So bad times is approaching. So like I said, certain jobs, of course, they're going to be more stable and more what's the word they like to use, essential. So got me a scripture. This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Starting at verse 1, and it reads, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. This is starting at the point. Verse 3, and the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Who are the keepers of the house? The elites. And the strong man shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few. And the grinders is going into them jobs, at the end of the day, and we about to start seeing that, you coming into a time, this recessions always bring layoffs, because people, like, at the end of the day, they're trying to maximize, their profit in the first way, or because, at the end of the day, especially this inflation reduced recession, because basically they gonna charge more to do business, and if you ain't an essential job, like you already seeing that with the whole Silicon Valley thing, all these tech startups like Uber Eats, and like not Amazon, but Facebook, Meta, all these different jobs that literally are not essential jobs, that's cool when the economy doing good, but at the end of the day, when the economy doing bad, like now, you got supply chain that actually produces and brings it, because nobody grows anything like that anymore. So you got a supply chain that produces the food, that brings the meats and the milks and the eggs and the butter. So jobs like that, like in produce and food processing and whatnot, those are be a little bit more valuable. Even with like housing, like people that's in construction, those go through layoff times as well. When people ain't spending money, people ain't building shit. You got certain things that still gonna get built, because before recessions kicked in, you had contracts signed and money already allotted to do certain things. That's why, I remember during when Bush was in office, and literally what he did was because I remember like the county of Cuyahoga, where we reside in, where Cleveland is located, people were complaining that Bush didn't give up, the federal government didn't give up no money. But the thing was, you had to be dealing with Bush, you had to be dealing with the Republicans to get some money. And how they played it, they made it seem like they didn't have any money. But each county, each state got money, but they was hoarding on the money. Kind of like how they did with this whole stimulus package, with the whole cover, the CV whole relief thing, because you got states that's doing like California that got money from the federal government, they just don't dish it out to the people. All them states actually benefited from the federal government's unemployment, with that extra $300, but every state didn't give you that, and I'm pretty sure that most of these states is still getting that from the federal government. That's why certain states could afford to do what's that called? BCI? No, UBI, Universal Basic Income. Some states could do it because they basically got money from the federal government to do it. But all that is like, they piloted it, they tested it out, seeing how many people will be willing to accept it and do it. And I get you. But Salakia, verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And that's going into the times that we're living in now, because the scriptures basically go into prophecies. Right now we live in a time when the music is real low. You know what I mean? Especially when you go to Jake, when you coming up in the 60s and 70s, Jake's made some music that was harmonious to the spirit. Now you listening to this shit that they playing, and it's like literally like just noise. Put a wicked vibration on you. You know what I mean? I say Jake that would never listen to certain rap music, but certain, because of the way certain beats and how they compose the beats. You have Jake, older Jake, that would normally, like I was listening to a guy on YouTube. He was literally saying how he literally said most of the hip hop artists nowadays are cokeheads. You know what I mean? They dope heads. And he was going into how like you literally got like individuals like Lil Wayne and whatnot that literally you got to be careful what your kids listen to. You got to monitor what your kids listen to. If you paraphrase. It's spiritual though. It just started raining heavy as hell out of nowhere. Anyhow, yeah. So I got another scripture. Well, I'm gonna bring up some more out of this article. So it reads, the economic plan in the next downturn will be completely different from that of the CV. And they kind of like telegraphing what they want to do, you know what I mean? It says, the economic pain in the next downturn will be completely different from that of the CV recession. White-collar office workers should be worried. A growing number of economists expect at least a mild recession to materialize in 2023, and signs point to it resembling the downturn of the early 1990s. That slump saw white-collar or high-income office workers face a heightened a heightened risk of job loss, while those in blue-collar sectors like mining and manufacturing generally fare much better than in previous recessions. Because it's about to be all about what you produce, because everything is more expensive. You know what I mean? William Lee Chief, and it's certain things that are essential. You know what I mean? Like, a motherfucker might go without the game system or a new pair of tennis shoes, but you know what I mean? Again, certain things that's built, you know, like those semiconductors, or you know, because those go into pretty much everything. Everything is basically going into a smart city or whatever. So, you know, they need those chips for whatever reasons, you know. It says, William Lee, chief economist at the Milken Institute, previously told MarketWatch that the recession would mostly be a white-collar recession, adding that the blue-collar recession will not be in the same places that we saw in the past. Lee added to Insider that blue-collar workers, like truck drivers, used to be the most vulnerable workers, but office workers have always been considered protected. Right now, it's exactly the reverse, he added. So he said basically this could take place even in the blue-collar, you know, economy, but at the same time, it's not going to be as severe for, you know, those jobs that, or those individuals that got jobs where they like I said, basically working hands on, you know. So yeah, you know, again, making me think of Ezekiel chapter 12 about you know, I mean not Ezekiel, chapter 7, Ezekiel 7, you know. So this is the book of the book of Egypt. I said the book of Isaiah chapter 19, and I will get the point. No, I'm going to start at verse 14. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth. As a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So, you know, basically it's going to get to the point where, you know, those jobs that are not essential, they're going to be phased out. You know, you had a lot of that happen during the pandemic. And like I said, but, you know, you see how they literally changing this over to the fourth industrial revolution right now. You know, you got Elon Musk waiting to basically release those humanoid robots, you know, and basically come to find out, they said it was going to be like sex bots. So like this thing, you know, because if you can't see that this man is in cahoots with this shit, you know what I mean? And yeah, you ain't got no kind of vision, you know. You know, these talking heads that you see out there, they're literally doing the bid, or they with the agenda of these elites, you know, from your Bezos to your Musk, you know. So like I said, at the end of the day, when you go into this system, this smart grid, these smart cities, they don't really even need, they literally ain't gonna even need a lot of police officers, you know what I mean? You know, in New York they had those robots. Then you had the robotic dogs, which they took out of the public eye, but then they use them in certain places. I believe every state probably got some, because like I said, again, all this is gonna be the you know, this is gonna go into that tiny technology. You know, you're gonna have cities that's ran off of AI, artificial intelligence. So yeah, what did I get Joe for? Slovakia. So what do I want? Because yeah, we coming into some evil times, so let me bring that out. This is the book of Ephesians. You know, because not only you gonna have massive inflation, and you know what I mean, to just be able to survive. You know, we've had recessions before. You know, you got the Great Depression, but you have recessions in like the 70s. You know what I mean? Whatever the gas is, everything is high like this, and you know what I mean. You know, when you got things like that going on, that's, you know, evil times. You know, or hard times. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 5. I'm gonna start at verse 14. Wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest. So, you know, you need to awake now, because you know what's going on in the world. You know Book of Romans chapter 13 said, now it's high time to wake out of sleep. You got a lot of people asleep. Those that's in this truth of the scriptures and the truth and the knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, they are not asleep. They are awake. You got these YouTubers and these different individuals like Dabu 7 and, that like Full Spectrum Survival, these different YouTubers or these different people that think that they're awake because they see some of the things that's going on in the world, but they're not awake because a lot of them don't even really believe in the scriptures. The truth, and to be truly awake, you got to be awake to the fact that whom is who. A Jake that's not awake to the fact that you are a Hebrew Israelite is not truly awake. You might be awake to these people with money, these bankers are, basically create a system, because I always think of Monopoly, you know what I mean? Like when you play the game of Monopoly and when you go figure out a Hasbro, the company that created that, the first board game they created, or first thing that they created was like Ouija boards. So at the end of the day, everything here is satanic. That's why the scriptures talk about love not the world or the things that's in the world. And it's deep, because we got families and loved ones and siblings and children and Eves and whatnot. For those women that's believe, you got husbands, but at the end of the day, you can't love anything. You got to love Yahweh Shem Yahushua over everything else. Verse 14 again, wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest and arise from the dead. Make me think of Ezekiel chapter 37, the valley of the dry bones. Because basically it was talking about Israel coming back to the remembrance of who they was. That's what made you awake, the truth. And Christ shall, because you got people that's like the elder Apostle Gabar said, we existed, we not living, you know what I mean? So you got Jake that's in the world that have things, but they not really living. Even those that think they got something, like LeBron James and them, they not living. I was watching Walking Dead, and you can go into Megan, you know what I mean? And how he was just a gangster, and then he's like, you have people that sit up there and literally took on the mindset of this is the way life is. Even Rick, but when you go into Daryl's like, I'm not bowing, and that's what a man in his truth is gonna have to because when you look at it, like literally, he basically broke everybody. I think of him like Shah Todd, and then you had Ezekiel, King Ezekiel, that had the tiger. He literally it's just, to me, it looked like, it was light versus darkness, you know what I mean? Which the Lord in the scriptures, in the book of Sirach said, the Most High made two against two. That's perfect balance. And they can't be just one thing more powerful. That's like if you work out and you just work on your one right arm and not your left. Or if you literally just work on your upper body but not your legs. You know what I mean? Like, that's off. You know what I mean? Then you gonna be like shaped like one of them cartoon characters and shit like that. Not to digress. But the point is, the Lord works in tangent. It's a balance. Everything is balanced, Verse 15, see then that thee walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And we come into evil days. Eve meaning time, ill meaning bad. We come into bad times. With jobs laid off, you're going to have a increase of violence like never before. Especially, it's just, I wonder why I had that joke 18. I can't think of it. Scriptures talk about in the last days, in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, in the last days, people should be fierce, lovers of themselves, vain, haughty, it could, fierce, like I said, and then that makes me think of Matthew chapter 24, talk about iniquity shall abound, meaning the sin upon sin, so the love of many shall wax cold. It's going to be a spirit of violence out here, because in the book of Genesis chapter 6, it said violence filled the earth, and you know what I mean, this is the second death. Before the Lord judged the world back in Genesis, it was an increase of violence. It's going to be an increase this time. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9. So we was going to go into that in a study session. We was talking about faith, because you're going to have big faith with the things that's coming. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9. I'm going to start at verse 6. Even so, the times also of the highest have planned beginnings and wonders and powerful works in endings. No, I'm going to start at verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of the highest have planned beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith. It's by both, because your faith is going to actually put it on your spirit to produce works. You know, you can't never say you believe and then never come out on the highways and hedges, because it's commanded to do that. Yeah, that would be sure of your faith by doing that. You know what I mean? Because every man of our nation is required to come out here on these highways and hedges. Now you can do have helps, and you do have certain men that say that they they lot is not to be a prophet. You know what I mean? And I mean, you have some sincere individuals that but at the end of the day, if you are receiving this, this knowledge, and the Lord put it in you, and you got certain men that knew the scriptures, but like I said, they don't feel, like the keyboard warriors, and you know what I mean? Then how's you truly showing your faith? You know, and we was just talking about that too. That's the spirit at this study session, because we was going into, how Yahushua had disciples. It was like 80 disciples that walked away. They was only following because they was being carnal, just like 2/3 of our people are carnal now. It's always been that remnant of niggas, and you always had the remnant of true believers. So you had Peter and Andrew and John, and two sets of brothers, literally, straight away they stopped what they was doing and followed the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. They said, but the 80 left. You know what I mean? So they was following for, they own carnal beings. Because you got to understand, like, we was going into, the Yahweh Shah literally wasn't like poor like that. Yeah, he was constantly on the move, but you got to remember, like, the scriptures talk about how he fed thousands of people through miracles, but it was times where they bought food too. You got to remember, they was doing the Passover in the upper room, like, like, so, when he hit the one Jake in Matthew chapter 8, I think it was about foxes have holes, but the Son of Man have nowhere to lay his head. Jake was talking about how he wanted to follow Yahushua, but then Yahushua hit him with that, and it don't say he responded or he followed him, so he walked away. Jake always come up with an excuse not to do this, and all you're doing is literally sear yourself with a hot iron, because at the end of the day, the Lord know what He put in you. You know what I mean? So if it was put in your spirit to, that's why it talks about no temptation have basically the Lord is not going to tempt you more than you able, right? Roughly paraphrase. The same things that, certain brothers go through certain afflictions, but if you go through that affliction, you also had a power within you to actually overcome that, just like the kingdom was within you. That's why the elders always go into how the temple is first and foremost a people, and not, not a building. The new temple is a spiritual temple, meaning with the men. Each man is a brick. You get that from Peter. So this verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Verse 9, then shall, and that's going into how you have an elect or a remnant of women and children that's going to be spared from this coming judgment. Verse 9, then shall they be a pitiful. You made me think of Matthew's chapter. I'm going to bring it out because it's Matthew's chapter. So it goes into, what did it say? Matthew 24, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. Matthew 24:13, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Let's see if I got it in the blue letter. Slovakia. I ain't mean to make this that long. I got 20 things to do, but, Spirit tried to jump on me. Forgive me for not having it a little bit more organized. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13, and it reads, Slovakia. This is Matthew, shall endure. So the word shall endure is
Strong's G 5278. Hupameno.
It reads to remain, to tarry behind, to remain, to remain, i.e., abide, not recede or flee, to persevere under misfortunes and trials, to hold fast to one's faith, to endure, bear bravely and calmly ill treatments. So and that's a spiritual cut, because you got these people with this prosperity doctrine. It is truth, you're going to suffer. You know what I mean? But you suffer for, righteously, because the Lord, all his judgments are righteous. It talks about how you should judge righteously. You know, you got to understand you're paying for what you did in this lifetime and maybe one prior. You know, the Lord don't have to judge you. He can let you. You know, and it's so spiritual how that line up because when you read like I was reading Second Kings, and when you go into that, the Lord had wicked kings come and righteous kings come and wicked kings. It was more wicked, of course, but the thing is, you would think like that. Oh, this wicked ass nigga would be judged like the first 6 months or whatnot. You had that one king that was a king for like 3 months, but you've had kings that lived for like 16 years, and for a minute. You know, Ahab ruled for a long time because the Lord works through men. So, you know what I mean? The Lord directed the steps of men. So, like, he literally was using him to do certain things because, you know, the Lord works through anything, but he works through people as well. You know, so he that endures his trials and tribulation, the same shall be saved. So, verse 9, then shall they be in pitiful case which thou hast abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. You know, and that's going into towards our people. You know, the Lord, even though we in captivity, you know, you got Jake, like you say, that literally live off of the system. You know what I mean? But if you choose to side with the system in these up and coming days, that's going to be to your detriment because it wasn't really Esau Edom that was taking care of you. I mean, carnally or the outward, but it was Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. If you choose to side with him, with this upcoming system that he's trying to create, this tiny technology, this charagma that he wants to place inside of you, that's going to have you receive a judgment, which is in the book of Revelation chapter 14. You know, all of this is actually like scriptural. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But again, we go up into bad times with these layoffs, with this food insecurity. So the only way to be, like I said, it said, shall be preserved, you know, because those that's actually, it says they be saved by their works and then by their faith. So those that are of the elect, using both works and faith, they literally are going to be preserved from the famine, from the lack of food, for the food insecurity, from the inflation. The Lord is going to make a way to protect it and take care of them. Because the scriptures literally say these things. Isaiah chapter 65. And the scriptures say that the Lord, Yahweh is not a man that he shall lie. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Simple, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and to the commandments of Yahweh Shai, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Allah, like Yahweh Shai, double honor to my apostles, the elders, the great bills, the whole teacher, do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Aki across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, not more so than ever. Shalom to the Aqua, to the Aki, listen to learning. Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, maybe we'll come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.